California. He serves on the Judiciary Committee, and he joins me now. There's a lot of news to get to with you today, Senator. First, I just want to start and ask, are you at all jealous of colleagues in the Democratic House, the body you used to serve in, who are going to get to ask questions of Pam Bondi under oath, apparently?
Tonight's conversation highlights a growing debate in Washington over war powers, accountability, and political oversight. As lawmakers question the administration's actions toward Iran, the discussion quickly shifts from policy disagreements to deeper constitutional questions. Who ultimately decides when America goes to war, the president or Congress? And how transparent should leaders be with the public when military operations are underway? This interview offers a revealing glimpse into those tensions and the political stakes surrounding them.
Well, we had that opportunity in the Senate Judiciary Committee recently, and I think the key thing, Chris, is not just bringing her in, but actually demanding real answers to the questions that members have. Don't let her come in and simply insult members or obfuscate or deny or whatever. It's all in the follow-up. So applaud the Republicans who went with Democrats and subpoenaing her to come in, but demand real substantive answers, demand real documents be returned, demand to see what they're holding back. This is what real oversight is about. The hearing is just the first step.
Senator, you joined all but one of your Democratic colleagues today in voting for a war powers resolution that would have constrained the president's war on Iran that he's launched. All the Republicans, save for Rand Paul, voted against it. Rand Paul voting with the Democrats, John Fetterman voting with Republicans. Why did you vote that way today?
Well, I introduced the resolution along with Tim Kaine, Senator Schumer, and Rand Paul for the reason that we shouldn't be in this war, number one. This is a war that was not brought on by any imminent threat from Iran. And we've heard all kinds of varying explanations for why. Rubio says we were threatened. He says it's because Israel was going to attack and they would attack us, Iran, that is, if Israel attacked. And then the president says, no, that wasn't it at all. And then you hear Pete Hegseth say something different and Witkoff say, no, this was about them potentially getting the bomb. They can't explain why we're at war. So first and foremost, to stop this war of choice. But second, because constitutionally, this is unlawful. You can't commit the nation to war without seeking the approval of Congress. It's one of the most important powers that we have. It has atrophied. And if we're going to allow a war like this to go on where we've already lost U.S. service members and essentially not make a peep about it in Congress, then we're telling this president and any future president, you can make war whenever you want, wherever you want, for whatever reason you want, and Congress will not step in to put any constraint on you. That's just dangerous to the American people and to our troops.
There's been a bizarre spectacle in Washington over the last few days in which it's clear there was official messaging of the White House telling representatives and senators and the Republican Party that this is not a war, that they should not characterize it that way. And then at the same time, it's the Department of War. The soldiers they insist on calling the soldiers war fighters. And every time the president talks about it, he casually calls it a war. I think we have some examples of that today. Take a listen.
They have declared war on us. I don't believe in the semantics. We've talked about the language this morning. We're not at war right now.
I have to go back and look at the war. You know, have a lot of things happening.
So it's a combat operation, not war. Anytime the president says it, he says war, it seems on its face that they're just lying and dissembling about the war issue.
Well, that's exactly right. And indeed, at the classified briefing on this, I raised exactly this point. I've said, Secretary Hegseth, you've called it war. The president has called it war. Others that were presenting to us called it war. And of course, it is war. It is war by any definition. This massive military bombardment, the fact that our bases in the region are being struck as well. It is unquestionably war. The president says he can't tell us exactly how long it's going to go. And so I think that they're trying to have it both ways. They're trying to say, yes, we acknowledge this is war, but no, it's not war in a constitutional sense. And why is that? Because we don't want to have to vote to authorize it, because we recognize this vote could come back and haunt us. That's the kind of political cowardice that we're seeing. And if we're going to put our service members on the line, then members of Congress ought to have the courage to at least call a war, and being willing to vote it up or down. The Republicans have not been willing to do it, with a few very notable exceptions. But you're absolutely right. This is war. They've acknowledged it, and there's no escaping it.
The most recent estimate I think I saw today was a Pentagon estimating it's costing about $1 billion a day. I saw one person note acidly that the fighter jets that we lost over Kuwait were the total of all of the DOGE savings, such as they were, in one day. There's now talk about some sort of funding, supplemental funding legislation to authorize and appropriate money for this war. Presumably will come before the Senate. Early talks about that. Politico headline about it today. Do you feel yourself inclined towards supporting such a resolution?
It'd be very interesting, Chris, to see whether they bring up a resolution for supplemental appropriations during the war. I think they probably won't, because I don't think they want another vote on the war. I think they will wait until the war is over. They may wait weeks or months until the war is over, and then say, we need this money to replenish our stocks to protect the country from some vulnerability in the future. So this is not about perpetuating the war. This is now about protecting the homeland. So I wouldn't be surprised if they used that stratagem. I think we need to continue to point out the costs, and you've just mentioned some of them, that this is a trade-off. You could build a lot of hospitals with $1 billion. We're basically dropping hospitals on Iran. We're blowing up the opportunity to invest in our own people, in our own country, in our healthcare system, and bring down the cost of living. There's no free lunch here. There's a real financial cost to all of this. You add up whatever we spent in Venezuela, what we spent in the first Iran war. And by the way, Chris, during that same classified briefing, multiple briefers referred to the June attacks on Iran as the 12-day war. And I made the further point, well, you can't say that war is just something you...
As this interview shows, debates about military action are rarely just about strategy. They're also about constitutional authority, political responsibility, and the real financial and human costs of war. Lawmakers from both parties often disagree on where that balance should lie between executive power and congressional oversight. For viewers, the key question becomes, should Congress have a stronger role before military conflicts begin, or does the modern security landscape require faster presidential decisions? What do you think about this debate? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you appreciate balanced, fact-based political analysis, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth breakdowns.
Could recognize in retrospect. This is happening now. It is war now, not just when you want to look back in hindsight. But I think it's going to be really important for us, whenever that resolution comes, that we point out the real opportunity cost, the real sacrifice they have made by blowing up the opportunity to invest in America.
You had an opportunity to question Kristi Noem yesterday, particularly about some of the contract shenanigans happening at HHS, the nature of the special government employee, Corey Lewandowski, who all reports indicate she's spending a tremendous amount of time with, including on private jets that have been requisitioned for the purpose. She was asked under oath twice today about whether she's has had sexual relations with Corey Lewandowski, and both times notably declined to respond. Do you have any... Did you note that at all? Don't find that interesting?
I did note that took place during the House hearing today. I appreciated Peter Welch, who more euphemistically referred to Corey Lewandowski as her special employee and used air quotes around it. Look, I think that we are going to find just such enormous waste and grift and fraud within DHS, going out to friends and family and maybe lovers too, I don't know. But just the $220 million contract that went out to the PR firm that used to do her campaign in South Dakota and married to one of her staff, I mean, it just all reeks, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
Senator Adam Schiff, California, thank